now we'll actually talk a little bit more about things. So I will again share my. So we're looking back on 2020. It already feels like ages ago, I think. Magnus, what do you think happened?
Well, there was like a train running into our reception exactly a year ago. We were just planning to launch our, 50th-year anniversary with a lot of people and blah 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 and speakers and everything, and then everything died in 24 hours. So we became digital overnight, basically.
Which was pretty great.
It's great, yeah. And you can choose between kind of putting yourself into bed and die, or try to cope with issues. And in our since part of our business is also a co-working space where we rent out spaces, we were quite badly hit by the COVID situation.
You mentioned it. We've been avoiding it all day, but he mentioned it. Yeah, but that actually, I think, looking back at it, I'm really happy about what happened, because what we did was that we went online with everything. We started doing a lot of online events, which means that we now have not only a national member base, but rather a global member base, which is really amazing. And we have a whole bunch of startups from Germany, Japan, from Switzerland, from all over. So now if you corporates come to us and ask for a good startup with a great solution, we don't only point you at Swedish startups, we point you at the wider audience.
And it's an obvious way to go, because as larger companies figure out that they have to get into new technologies and new solutions, they will have to start to look outside of their own city for things. So if you live in Skövde, maybe you can't find the best robotic company in Skövde. So every single large company will have to go for every single task abroad to find who are the good players. And for the smaller players, the tech companies, they will have to go across borders to find the customers as well. So our long-term plan was to really establish ourselves in the middle of all of that and try to help the process going. So we jumped into that overnight.
And we probably did that in 1 year rather than 3 years.
Yeah.
So to us, that was actually pretty cool. I'm pretty happy about how it ended up. That also means that we have increased collaboration. Anna-Karin already mentioned the innovation challenge that we had with Husqvarna. We also did one with Godel and Ellevio. And we will actually do a second one with them this year. So keep your eyes open for that one. We, as one of the founders of Ignite Sweden, we did participate in the Sweden Innovation Days in November, which means that we tied closer ties with Germany and Japan. And we also actually spun out Ignite Sweden to be part of SISP, Swedish Incubators and Science Parks, which is a really good place, joining forces for all these incubators and science parks across Sweden. So it was a really good year, I'd say, summing it up.
And at the same time, we got going with our new formats, the digital formats, the e-bazaars and the e-explorers. And we've done more than 10 of those since 28th of March when we started. So I think that's going very well. We already had 3 or 4 of them this year, and it runs very well.
Yeah. And I think I did a quick summary of the number of attendants, and that was over 700 just from launching that in March until December. And I couldn't count the countries, but I know it was over 20 countries participating. And that would not have been able if we would actually do it physically here. So it's a good thing. We also strengthened the word deep tech. We focus on deep tech, and deep tech is everything, depending on how you look at it. We have tried to define it into 4 technologies that we focus on. So AI, ML, and computer vision, automation and robotics, Internet of Things, of course, and energy. And where do you apply it? Well, then we look at the different markets. We have industry, infrastructure, utilities, and mobility. And these shift over time, especially the technologies. What is important? What is less important? So if you followed us during these 6 years, you might have seen that we throw some out and we bring some new ones in.
Now, what I would like to say, the reason why we have industry, infrastructure, utilities, mobility is they have something in common. They work with the physical world. And that's when it becomes difficult. And we like the things that are difficult. And that's where you really need deep tech. So it all fits together quite nicely.
The easy stuff, someone else can
someone
do.
else can be successful with that.
So we want to tell you a little bit about the events that we do. So Get on Top of, if you know us, you know that's our typical event that we do here physically. We stopped doing that. We actually tried doing that again in September, October, but then we had to pull back again for a second wave and a third wave and so on. So we continue now focusing on eBazaar, which is a great opportunity for our startup members, the tech companies, to really present their case to you guys. So do participate and listen in. That is open to anyone to join. So feel free, keep an eye on our webpage or register for our newsletter.
And by the way, we record all of those events on our YouTube channel. You can find every single event. And now we even started to, first of all, use polls to get people easier in touch with the speakers, which is a new invention. And secondly, we've also started to mount apart the different presentations by themselves on the YouTube channel.
Mm. And Explore is kind of a looser setup. When we think there's an area that we really want you to dive into, then Explore is a great opportunity. So we started doing that on sustainable development goals, for instance. And we'll probably do that again now in the spring. We have about 50 what we call corporate ready startup members and the same amount of corporate members. So on both sides now, the international share is actually growing. What also happened during this year as a part of this going global part is that we have increased the number of international partners, network partners that we can combine networks with, join each other's activities, share contacts and networks and so on. You see some of them here. We're really proud of that. And that is actually what we'll start executing more and more now during the spring as well. So you'll see more of that.
Again, if you want to do cross-border high-quality services, you just have to have good friends in other countries and other domains. And that's what we are collecting now.
Yeah. So 2021, we're already way into it. It feels like it's half mid-year now. We are continuing to develop the offerings and services that we do, especially targeting the corporates and larger companies that want to work with us. Innovation challenges, we already mentioned. For those of you who are familiar with Ignite Sweden, we've also now things started to act as key account managers for the companies that are members with us. So if you want to join that, we can give you kind of a one single contact in terms of that. This list is growing and it will develop depending on what you guys need. So do tell us. The international reach I already mentioned. And also, of course, we have our house still. Less people physically here, but we actually have more member companies than ever before. So I'm really, really happy about that. I think we'll wrap it up there, Magnus.
I think so too.
We have a tired audience,
yeah,
full of, they're overloaded with information now.
And just now, think about it. Close your eyes and think about a lot of champagnes and balloons and all the party things that we would have done now if this was a normal year, and which we will do later on. So I think thank you so much for today, guys. And without you, we are nothing. So hang in there.
Yep. See you next year.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.